On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a huge win against the Milwaukee Bucks, bouncing back from a game we will not talk about anymore. Luka Doncic took the next step, stepped up his game in a way that we saw coming. We'll talk about why that game was so important, where the Mavs can go from there. Talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. We're here for you 5 days a week. Also, after every single post game through the playoffs, off-season, draft, free agency, you know we'll be here for you. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer at Mavs.com. The music man, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris? Let it ride. Let it ride.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought this game was gonna be an L. I thought going into
Isaac, what do we say? Isaac, what do we say about predicting games? Oh, Wizards game, win. Bucks game, absolute L. We're terrible at predicting individual games.
You know what else I found? I found another stat to where this could be. Tell me if I'm being just old man, get off my line here. But I found another stat that I don't like. Strength of schedule.
Ooh.
I listened to like a preseason, even like pre-everything NFL pod the other day, and they're like, you know what, this team has the 14th hardest schedule going into next year. What? We don't even know. Like, you don't even know who's going to be good.
I think in the NFL it's more applicable, and it's something that people try to take from the NFL and bring it to the NBA, and it just doesn't work because there's so many games, right? But like,
and even like the rest of the season in the NBA, it's like, you know, we started 2 weeks ago, any point in the season, you're like, hey, this team has the 5th hardest schedule, remaining schedule. And it's like, okay, well, 1, you don't know what team is going to be setting out who in those games. 2, you don't know what they're even like going for. I don't know. I don't like any schedule predicting stats or segments or any of it. Hate it all.
So you don't want to hear that the Mavs have the easiest strength of schedule for the rest of the season now?
No, I don't care. I don't think, I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. I'm sorry. I will say, you can't spell Mavericks without a K. That's actually true. I love Nike and all, but
that's a good one.
Thank you, everyone.
In reference to Nike saying you can't spell You can't spell championship without a K.
I love the swoosh, but that was super dumb. Shout out to Coach K for being done.
That's it. He's done. Shout out to Theo Pinson, Reggie Bullock, all the North Carolina players. Everything, an incredible game. But today, we're talking about another incredible game. The Mavs win 118-112 to the Milwaukee Bucks. A game where Luka Doncic was clearly the best player on the floor. He goes out there, and we said it last week. We have to remember, in thinking about any of these first-round playoff series, think about the last 2 years, the way that Luka has stepped up in the playoffs. At the end of the year, it's like, oh man, he's trailing off. How does he take it to the next level? You look at a game like the Wizards game, it doesn't look like he can do anything. Like, it doesn't look like he can get anything done, get past anybody, pull off any good passes. Like, it just seems like he's, struggling, and he ends up putting up 34 still. It looks like he's struggling and still puts up a bunch of, points. And then you watch a game like this, where he's motivated. The Mavs need to win this game. They're going up against the, maybe the MVP, definitely the two-time MVP, the defending champs, the Bucks. They're at essentially full strength, and he just takes a step up to another level. He just does. He just knows the moments. He loves those moments. He takes a step up, and he looked like the best player on the floor in this game.
You look at last year's playoffs. He goes against Kawhi, Paul George, and those guys against the Clippers. And it's just, I know most Mavs fans, we all watch that series. We watch every second of that series and have talked about it a million times. But just to go back and look at it one more time, he averaged 35, 10, and 8 in that series against Kawhi, Paul George, and that that team that went to the conference finals, and it just shows you Luka didn't average 35 last year during the season. What did he finish the season averaging?
20, like 28 or something.
26, 27, 28, somewhere through there. And it's like, this is the level that great players can get to. And yeah, we went into this Bucks game, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I said a while ago, I thought they were gonna lose this game. They lost the game on Friday to the Wizards. You go into this, game in Milwaukee. They just set out, Giannis and those guys
they were well rested.
Their game before that, well rested. They're going for the number 1 seed. Giannis is going for MVP. And I'm like, they're gonna catch them. And the Mavs are on the road, all of that stuff. And man, Dallas proved me wrong. And like, prove me wrong. I was so happy to be proved wrong in this game. And Luka just took it to another level in that second half.
And the thing that really stood out to me was it wasn't just Luka hitting like 7 of 9 from 3, right? It wasn't just Luka going off and hitting a bunch of step back threes and stuff like that. It was Luka getting to the basket. It was Luka with 15 assists, just throwing dimes. There were so many incredible passes. Just, you watch that display of passing and you go, oh, this is probably the maybe 1 or 2 best passer in the entire NBA, or in the entire world right now. You see the passes that he can throw off where he's just, gets to a small spot, double team is coming. He throws the ball behind his back. He hits somebody in stride, hits somebody right in the breadbasket when they're trying to hit a shot. Like, just incredible passing from Luka, on point. And then the Mavs shooters did him right? Bullock hits 3 of 6. Brunson hits 3 of 6. Dinwiddie hits 3 of his 4. Bertans hits a couple. Josh Green hit 1. And Dorian only hit 1 of 6, but still, like, he just needs a couple of those. Like, he just needs a couple of those to go down, and that's when the Mavs really were able to get a big difference there, right? Or really take a lead, or keep their lead, or regain the lead. Was when they would just come back and hit a couple of threes. Like, Luka would be able to find those. And to your point that you've been making all season, yes, the Mavs, when they struggle from 3, it seems like they're gonna lose, but the Mavs always have the threes as an option. They're always there, right? So it was good to see. Not just Luka, like, just taking them, or not just, them relying on threes as much. They took 38 in this game, but that's not like too far off the season average. It's not like they took 50 or 45 or even like that. But they were getting to the basket. They were doing stuff around the rim too. Dwight Powell, we'll talk about him for sure. He was incredible, and that was such a weapon that Luka used, and his passing was on display there. But it was taking advantage of the things that Luka does best.
There was a moment there in the fourth that Van Gundy, which, I mean,
rare form today. Rare form.
Yes, weird form for Van Gundy today, but
not normal form.
He said there in the second half and in the fourth quarter, he literally said, I'm paraphrasing his quote here, "Geez, I wonder what they're gonna run here. They've been running it the whole game," and it was the high pick and roll to Dwight. And it's like, we know this is their bread and butter. We know that this is what they're gonna go to, especially late in games, especially late in playoff games. If Maxi's not out there and it's Dwight, they're going to run that high pick and roll. They're going to bring Dwight up. A lot of times they don't even care who's on Dwight. Like, it's not just I think some people might think that they're bringing Dwight up just for a mismatch of like whoever's guarding Dwight or whatever. A lot of it's because his rim rolling presence, right? It's like, so they run the high pick and roll, and then all you're doing is just serving it up on a platter and saying, here you go, Luka Doncic. Like, we trust you so much. You're such a genius with the basketball that they're just trusting, saying Luka's going to come off the pick and then he's going to make the right decision. He's either going to 1, score the basket in the mid range. 2, he's going to drive in. 3, he's going to do a step back 3. 4, he's going to hit Dwight for a mid roll to where Dwight would hit somebody. 5, let's keep going.
I was going to say,
Dwight
how many options?
6, he's going to hit Reggie Bullock in one corner. 7, hit Dorian in another corner. 8, hit Brunson on another side. It's like,
how about, did you say layup and floater? Like, those are 2 different things too that he can go to, right?
And it's like, you just trust that he's going to make the decision. And how many times out of 10, 9 out of 10 times he makes the right decision. Some of these passes tonight that Luka was making in the fourth quarter and the second half, unbelievable. We're so spoiled because we watch him every single game that we kind of just write it off of like, oh yeah, you hit Bertans over there in crossbody midair. Like, what is going on? One-handed over to the other corner. We're so spoiled of watching these brilliant passes that Luka's doing these unbelievable things that we haven't seen very much in this game.
And you start looking at some of the other teams that, the Mavs could play. Like, the Jazz have no one that can make passes like that, right? So if you double Donovan Mitchell, it just changes what they can do. The Warriors,
Whiteside could.
the Warriors kind of do, like Curry can make some of them, but not all of them, right? Jokic is the one that can make all the passes. And so you see Jokic and you're like, oh, well, probably a bunch of players can make those passes. And it's like, no, not really. It's just like Luka, Jokic, LeBron.
LeBron can make them.
Maybe Giannis, and then maybe Durant, right? And then I don't know if you're running out of options because Trae Young can make a lot of really good passes, but he's smaller, and so that's harder. And then after that, there's just like nobody else. There's nobody else can pass. Chris Paul, same thing about the height. But
it's even more wild that in the fourth there that they were almost like targeting Giannis in a way of like that's where Luka is peak Luka, that it doesn't matter who's on him. Yes, they're trying to get Drew off of him and he's bringing up different defenders, just because sometimes they're just trying to get the switch. They're trying to get Bobby Portis.
Might as well take the easier player.
Yeah, so it's not always just, hey, bringing Dwight up so he can roll to the rim. It is trying to get the switch sometime. But Luka is at the level Luka's at right now when he doesn't even care. Like Giannis is on him and he can still do whatever he wants. That's insane.
And it's the point that he made to JJ Redick. He was making the case about, hey, you got the mismatch, got the switch on Rudy Gobert, got the switch on LeBron, got the switch on all these best players in their team. He said, well, we do that, and they, other teams do it to me so that they can be tired on the other end too. Make them work on the defensive end. And so, there's some of that he just can take whoever, but he also wants to make them work. And I'll take him at his word a little bit for that, even though that was a little bit of a cop out for that question from JJ Redick. But coming up, there's so many other things that stood out in this game. Luka obviously deserves all the flowers. He should be rising up MVP ranks because he was very visible.
NBA.com ladder.
Shout out to Michael Seawright. Dwight Powell was incredible. I thought Jalen Brunson had a really, really good game. We'll talk about all those guys and more coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about our favorite protein bar. It's Built Bar. Protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And guys, let me tell you, I got the brownie batter puffs.
Really? Wait. Did you buy them or did you get them for free? And I
bought them with my own money. Money that Built Bar gives us to do these ads that then Locked On pays me. I sent that money back to them for more Built Bars. That's how insanely good these are. I got the brownie batter puffs. They might be better than coconut brownie chunk.
Does Pastor Isaac need to come out to speak down in blasphemy?
They might. Next Mavs game we're both at, I'll bring you one. 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, 7 grams of sugar. It just tastes like a stick of brownie. They're insanely good. They're insanely good, and they're pretty good for you. Go check them out, the Brownie Butter Puffs. I had 2 listeners reach out to me and said that they got them as well and said that they were really, really good and loved them.
Are you saying butter or
batter? BATTER. Like when you make brownies, when they're pre-brownies, they're a batter.
Yeah. Okay. How many calories is on that?
140. 17 grams of protein, 7 grams of sugar. Use the promo code LOCKED15. Get them at built.com. Thanks for bringing Locked On Mavs your first listen for your next listen. Check out the Locked On Now podcast, nightly recaps of every NBA game with analysis from your local experts. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Isaac Harris. Dwight Powell deserves some attention here because you and I personally, and with this podcast, we have been on a journey with Dwight Powell where we have just been done with him. We wanted him to be traded at times. We were just bench him, play somebody else over him.
No, we haven't.
Go through the archives. I mean, we have been all over the place with Dwight Powell, and his role has changed over the years. That was a great inside joke from like 3 years ago.
That's good.
But Dwight Powell has gotten so much better, and he's fit so much better in Jason Kidd's system. He is playing incredible basketball right now. Yes, it is March, April Dwight Powell. Yes, does this happen every single year? But give him credit.
Dwight.
He had 13 rebounds against Giannis, Brooke Lopez, Middleton, Drew Holiday, like all Bobby Portis, all of them. That is not something Dwight Powell was doing over the last 5 years that we've been watching Dwight Powell. 6 years. How long has he been on the Mavs? Like 10 years.
Longest tenure Mavs.
That he's been on the Mavs. That is not something that he has done. Dang, he's been with the Mavs 8 seasons. 8 seasons. Rebounding that way is not something we've seen from Dwight Powell. That was incredible. The rim rolling the catching lobs. Like, remember the things we were most frustrated about with Dwight Powell is that he just couldn't catch the ball. Like, he just couldn't, like, he would get to the right spot, he would roll, it would be incredible, and then he just couldn't catch. And we were frustrated about that. Always frustrated about the rebounding, frustrated about his defense. All that stuff has been almost negated this year because he's either gotten better or been put in a better situation, or his chemistry with Luka has gotten to the point where it's just incredible to watch these two play the two-man game.
I mean, there's a reason why we crack jokes about it, but there's a reason why the leadership council picked him to start.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Because, well, I'm just saying, because they know the connection that Luka and him have. They know how special that pick and roll can be. And I said this on a solo pod, but it's every year around this time.
After they lost.
Shut up. Every year around this time, we celebrate the resurrection of someone. And I mean, it's just I can't even.
I was like, where are we going with this now? Should I get my guitar back? Should we get Pastor Isaac back on? Oh my gosh.
It's the resurrection of someone that we spend weeks waiting, building up to. And it's Dwight. And, and because he comes back to life every spring. And
did not expect a leadership council and a Jesus analogy.
You like that one? Yeah.
Exactly. You started with the leadership council and ended with an analogy about Jesus Christ.
That's better than some like Parks and Rec like analogy that you pull off sometimes. Some like quote from, hey, I remember Jim from Community. And it's like, no, I don't. Never watched that dumb show. Or some Avatar.
Jim from Community.
But Dwight.
Shrew?
No, not him. I actually know who that is.
Okay, good.
22 and 13 in this game. And it was one of the guys on the broadcast. They just run together at this point. Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy said for what he lacks for his height and size, he makes up with it for his hustle or 100%. With his hustle. And it's like that's been the MO for him, and his connection with Luka is, and the thing that we've kind of forgotten now, because he's gotten back to playing like good Dwight Powell basketball. The dude tore his Achilles. Like, I wrote this story at the beginning of the season. Dwight Powell bounced back and got his bounce back, and he slowly, slowly like built. I actually can't take credit for that. Somebody gave me that title, and it brainstorming up. But the Dwight Powell just kind of where he was at tearing his Achilles and back to where he's at now, I think is a testament to him, because he relies so much of his athletic ability and playing above the rim.
Oh yeah, Dwight Powell gets all the credit, and we've said like, oh, that's a position the Mavs would want to upgrade and all that. There's talk about Miles Turner. There's talk about Rudy Gobert over the weekend. Like, there's all kinds of different people talking.
Rudy is watching Dwight Powell thrive in Dallas and is like, what would my life look like?
Your star throws you more than 2 passes a game. But Dwight Powell's doing an incredible job right now, and I'm fascinated to see what he's going to do in the playoffs and how it's going to be, because I don't know if you remember, Dwight Powell did not play a ton in the last playoffs. He played 7 minutes a game last year, and he played in all 7 games. But the most minutes he played in a game in the playoffs last year was he played 21 minutes once against the Clippers in game 5. The Mavs did win that game, and he had 8 points. So, and 7 boards, 2 assists, and a steal. So maybe they should have played him. Maybe they should have played him more. But he played 7 minutes in game 1, 4 minutes in game 2, 3 minutes in game 3, 4 minutes in game 4, the 21 in game 6, 7 minutes in game 6, and then 5 minutes in game 7. Like, we did not see Dwight Powell a lot at all last year in the playoffs. And
yeah, because we had another big on the floor that was paying $30 million to.
Correct. And he only played in 4 games against the Clippers in the year before's playoffs. We just haven't seen Dwight Powell a lot. And so maybe this leveled up Dwight Powell is another thing that the Mavs can bring. Spencer Dinwiddie's different. Dwight Powell's different. Jalen Brunson's different. But this Dwight Powell we saw tonight was incredible. Held his own against maybe one of the best front lines in the NBA. Is Brook Lopez, Giannis like the best front line in the NBA? Jokic and Gordon, do you count that one?
I mean, I feel like you have to count it, right?
As a front line, is Gordon a 3? I don't know. Like that. That's what I'm saying.
Oh. I don't know. I mean, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson.
Stop. We're out of here with those Knicks. Dwight Powell was absolutely incredible. I thought he deserved so much credit. I thought that he did incredible job. He had 22 points, 13 boards. Oh, I was pulling out a stat. there's only been 50 players that have had a 22 and 13 game this year. Like John Collins has had one. Like John Morant has had one. Porzingis has had two. Now Dwight Powell has had one. It's pretty wild.
And they didn't have Maxey in this game. I was just saying, a few days ago, saying, well, if Maxey was playing, he was questionable going to this game, then they ruled him out with the ankle soreness. But they've typically liked to play Maxey on Giannis. So as soon as they said Maxey was out, I'm like, oh, let's see what happens with us. Dorian got the assignment. They doubled a lot and kind of just closed the paint off when he went in there. But still, I wonder if this just shows them something of like, ooh, maybe we don't have to play Maxey every time against a Giannis type. I mean, yeah, we'll see this matchup again, come June.
Well, if you play Dorian 41 minutes and Bullock 40 minutes and Dwight Powell 31 minutes, then you can.
Guys, he didn't catch it. He didn't catch it, guys.
And you can get it. I did. I just breezed past it. I just breezed past it to let it sail there. All right, coming up, got to talk about Jalen Brunson. Got to talk about Spencer Dinwiddie. I thought they both had crucial roles in this game, and then of course the two wings that had an incredible game as well. Talk about both of them coming up. But before we do, that's my dog trying to get out of my office.
Your chair or your dog?
Yeah, my chair makes those noises. Talk about all those guys coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Bet Online.
Let's go.
I hope you took that North Carolina bet. 4-point underdog. Got the win.
New mic coming in next week.
Got the win. There's all kinds of other things you can check out. They have some game props coming up for oh my gosh. They have game props coming up for some NBA games. Phoenix and OKC is on here. I don't know what kind of props they could have for that game. But the tournament champion, Kansas, opens as a 4-point favorite against North Carolina. They're really liking this 4 number. It seems to be the Vegas number.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling North Carolina, they just beat Duke. Can they beat Kansas? Sure. They just beat North Carolina. They just beat Duke. Go check it out on Bet Online. There's all kinds of other props and odds and things that you can check out. Bet Online. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. It's Bet Online, where the game starts and it don't end. All right, Isaac. Talked about Luka Doncic, how he had an incredible game, was the best player on the court. We talked about Dwight Powell, how he had an incredible game and has improved so much that has changed this team. Let's talk quickly about the two wings. Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith deserve so much credit. Dorian went 1 of 6 from 3, and usually we go, he had a bad game. If he went 1 of 6 from 3. 11 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, played really good defense on Giannis, I thought. Giannis in this game finished with 28. He was 12 of 22 from the floor, and but only had 2 assists. Right? You took something away from him. It's the same thing with him that it is with Luka. If you can take away one of those things, take away his passing or take away his, his scoring ability, and Dorian at least took one of those away. The Mavs did double him a lot, but that takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of work, and I thought the defense should be credited to those two wings in Bullock and Dorian. Those two guys just playing well, knowing where the other person is going to be, being able to double quick. It was incredible to watch those two guys defend.
Yeah, I want to extend it to the whole team also, that I thought the whole team picked it up. We were just talking about the defense stuff coming out of the Wizards game of, hey, was this
how it was the worst we've seen like all year.
Yeah, and I just feel like they picked it up all game. Even Giannis could be the MVP. I think he's the MVP this year, but there was a stretch he had in the third, and I literally just wrote down Dorian can't do anything right now. Like Giannis was bully balling him to the rim. They weren't sending the double. Giannis hit 2 step back mid-range.
Third quarter, was it? Yeah,
it was the third quarter. And it was just like, you can't, when Giannis gets in that zone, like Dorian is doing everything he could. Maybe then, would have Maxey, have helped in that moment? Maybe, possibly. But I thought collectively for the game, I thought Dorian did a good job of just making him work and making it weird for him. I thought Giannis got frustrated at him a handful of times, and I thought they just had a good game plan. And we know Kidd's history with Giannis. Giannis loves Jason Kidd. We know all of that in the Giannis book about Jason. But
all that stuff true.
But no, I just thought they had. I thought they. I thought they had a good game plan for him. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And if we're continuing to talk about defense, Jalen Brunson. This has been a thing that we were really wanting to track all year about how Jalen Brunson was going to hold up defensively. He got played off the floor against the Clippers last year. And one of the reasons why is because they kept attacking him. they just kept putting somebody on him, either Kawhi or Paul George, like, hey, switch on this guy and attack Jalen Brunson. The Mavs have been able to negate some of that this year with doubles, and they, come and help quick. But I thought Jalen Brunson against Chris Middleton, like, shut him down a couple times. Chris Middleton had an awful game in this game. He is 3 of 14 from the field, had 11 points, but 5 of those came from the free throw line. He did have 9 assists, but Chris Middleton couldn't get anything going. It was one of the reasons why the Mavs won. And, like, there's just possessions where they would just put Jalen Brunson on him one-on-one to defend, and Brunson held his own. And I thought that was incredible to watch at times, because we haven't seen Jalen Brunson's defense be a problem, which is huge for the Mavs. They need him to not be a liability on that end, and he hasn't been.
Yeah, you pointed that out to me before we hit record on it. Actually, I mean, just full transparent, I wasn't watching his defense too much tonight on Middleton because I was just fascinated by the Giannis assignment for Dorian and how they were trapping and playing Giannis. But I think even offensively tonight, he had 15 in the game, but there was a moment there in the second half where he had a couple shots back to back that, compared to Dinwiddie, Dinwiddie's looks flashier. I literally wrote down a note tonight. I said, I just love Dinwiddie step backs. There's just something visually appealing about them of just, I don't know, it's how far he steps or side steps.
They're different than Luka's, because like Dinwiddie's step back, Luka's step back is a long step back. Like his step back is like, what, 5-6 feet. He just goes all the way back. Dinwiddie's is like this real quick step. And then when he jumps up, he kind of floats. It's like step back.
He gets more elevation on his.
He gets more elevation. He takes a littler step, but and then he leans back a little more, I think. And they just look nice. Yeah, he had 6 less shots than Brunson. Scored 11 points. Brunson scored 15. They both only hit 2 free throws, but they both had 3 threes.
I was gonna say both of them had a combined 6 threes in the game. Like you can't ask for more than that.
We can at times, and we should. Yes. Right? Like we should ask time. But they needed those 2 extra buckets from Brunson, I thought, right? Like he only hit 2 more buckets than he hit the threes, but they needed a couple of those in the lane to where you're keeping the rest of the defense honest. You're keeping the Bucks honest, where they just can't like camp outside, from 3 and just like try to force them inside. Brunson can hit a couple of mid-range shots, keep him honest. And then he was able to go to the line once, but Dinwiddie didn't have anything else going to the basket. He just had those 3 threes, and that was it.
Yeah. Can I mention 2 lineup notes tonight? 1 bad, 1 good. 1, a 3-man lineup of Josh Green, Dwight Powell, Davis Bertans. I don't care if I ever see that lineup again.
Well, how about the 3-man of Chris, Josh Green, and Bertans?
Yes.
Or no, it was Marquise Chris, Josh Green, and I guess Dwight Powell. Or no, somebody else. I was like,
it wasn't Bertans.
I think it's just the 2-man of Josh Green and Marquise Chris that just did not work. And
I was just like, I don't know how I feel about this, but that run there in the second quarter, small ball, they broke it out. Mm-hmm. Dorian at the 5, Bertans at the 4. This is something they've experimented before. First time they did it, we all freaked out. We were all talking about it. They brought it back in this game, and they actually took the lead. It worked a lot in this game. And especially when they were going, I say go small with Giannis at the 5, even though he's like 6'11". But when they were going small with Giannis at the 5, Dallas kind of matched that, and it worked really well for them. So once again, it's win in different ways. But then the fact that they have that card in their back pocket, to where if they go against a team, or if a team just adjusts on the fly and says, "Hey, we're going to go super small," we know Dallas can do the same thing, and that's huge to have that flexibility.
Yeah, the Mavs didn't have that before. They didn't go small very often. They always had a big man out there somehow, or multiple, or like Boban and Porzingis, or Porzingis and Dwight Powell or somebody. And then Maxey will allow them to go small a little bit more even. I thought imagine having Maxey out there instead of Bertans. Now Bertans did decent. He had a couple of 3s in this game. He had 5 boards. I thought he played pretty good defense. Like he wasn't a liability defensively as bad as we thought. There's a couple plays that were bad, obviously, but it wasn't like the whole time they were just attacking him off the dribble, or, every single play was bad. Marquise Chris doesn't know the defense. Like Marquise Chris I think he missed too much time this year. I don't think he's going to be a factor. Like a big game like this, they're playing against a lot of bigs. They wanted to play another big. They threw Chris out there like, "Hey, let's just try you out." And it just didn't look like he knew what he was doing enough. And I think he's just missed too much time. If he had played more this year, I think maybe he could have gotten to that point, but I'm starting to think that he might not be.
Well, it just depends on, who they play. If somebody gets in foul trouble, or, the opposing team has a big that comes off the bench, they could play him against that. But as long as Maxi's healthy to back up Dwight, I think that's what we're looking at.
That's it. Yeah.
As our bigs, which
And
is
then-
crazy to think about.
And then maybe Bertans
Yeah, maybe Bertans in that too.
getting some minutes there at the 5.
Can I just point out one play real quick? I know we're probably going to talk about standings at the very end.
Can you say it?
One more thing about this game.
Yeah.
Just the Luka step back over Giannis.
Oh,
Just nasty. The cross between the legs. He kind of got Giannis off balance.
Saucy.
Oh, it was saucy. And when he got Giannis off balance, then he just fully committed to the step back. Giannis, when he commits to, contesting a shot, it feels like he's going to block it every time. Just right over his fingertips, the fadeaway, the leg kick out, nothing but net from the top of the key, and then the stare at the front row. Like, that's just, that's first team All NBA MVP stuff right there.
do we have to do it?
It makes some people cringe.
Just do a head bob. Oh yeah, the vibes. Brunson, how are the vibes?
Great vibes, man. Just great vibes. Like great vibes, great vibes. Yeah, great vibes. No, sensational vibes. And like the vibes are immaculate.
Always throws me off.
Take a drink every time he says.
Always throws me off how long that is. The Dallas Mavericks are 4th in the NBA right now. However, we are recording this before the Golden State Sacramento game. I'm assuming Golden State's going to win that game, but the Mavs were supposed to win the Wizards game, so here we are. Things can happen. So if the Warriors had lost that game, the Mavs would be in the 3rd spot. And if the Warriors had lost that game, all the Mavs need to do is win the rest of their games, and they will be the 3 seed. Now,
thanks, Utah.
Yeah, thanks to Utah. Great. The Mavs can clinch home court in the playoffs if they win out all their games. And if they win out all their games, I think they just have to win out all their games, and that's it.
I think Utah is trying to tank so they can play Golden State at 3.
And they possibly, but yeah. So Utah is doing a great job. They're in 6th right now. If Utah goes 4-0 and the Mavs go 0-3, I think the Mavs can still fall to the 5th seed. There's all kinds of numbers and stuff, but the Mavs, as long as they win out, they'll be in that 4-5, and then they'll probably get home court as well.
Yeah, Mavs, I think.
Yeah, Mavs' next games are
Detroit, Portland, and San Antonio.
Detroit, Portland, and San Antonio, and there's
don't sleep on the Detroit game, people.
Yeah, there's no back-to-backs. That Pistons game is a Wednesday, like a little bit of early games. That one's a little weird, but not really. But yeah, those are all definitely winnable games for sure. The Mavs just got to win all those games. They'll win, they'll finish the season with 52 wins. Probably be 4 seed. Could be 3 if the Warriors lose one more game. That's it. That's all they have to do. And the Warriors' next games are, they play Sacramento today. That one already happened. Warriors play Thursday against the Lakers. They have 3 days off. That next Saturday, they play at the Spurs.
Spurs are so tricky right now.
Still playing for something.
Yeah, and that's why we've pointed out a million times on the spot. But that last game of the season for Dallas and San Antonio, it's so intriguing because Dallas could be looking like, how much will Dallas try to angle for an opponent in that game if it means a loss or a win? San Antonio, they could win. That could be the deciding factor of them or the Lakers being in the play.
Well, if the Warriors lose to the Lakers and the Spurs, then all of a sudden that last game of the season doesn't mean anything for Dallas, or Dallas would just win one more game and they'd be number 3, right? Like that could be the difference there too.
Does this mean that I have to root for the Lakers this week?
Little bit.
Oh God, I don't know if I can.
Then the Warriors play their last game is at San Antonio, and then Sunday at the Pelicans. So they have a back-to-back there.
Pelicans fighting for a spot too.
Pelicans and Spurs fighting. So the Warriors.
You know why they're fighting? Because the play-in tournament. They just want to.
Nobody knows that reference because they didn't hear us arguing like.
They just want a seat at the table.
Arguing like.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
Oh, you made it a drop. Let's go. Take a drink.
He's doing well. My son's doing well.
The Warriors just have to lose one more of those games. We're rooting for the Warriors to lose one of the games and the Mavs to win all their games. That's what we want. So the Mavs will be in the 3 seed. That's what you want. That's what you want. Feeling good. But hey, that 4-5 against the Jazz or the Nuggets, I'd feel okay there too.
I'm feeling confident no matter who we play. So
it seems like
there's a preference.
It seems like it's only Nuggets or Jazz right now. I mean, Minnesota could still kind of sneak back into it, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're 2 games back from the Jazz. It seems like it's either going to be Nuggets or Jazz.
The way it's looking, the odds seem in favor of Dallas hosting a playoff game
For sure.
come Easter weekend. So
For sure.
which is
And
April 16th or 17th.
we can both agree the Nuggets and Jazz are significantly worse teams than the Clippers the last 2 years.
Yes. And we're gonna have multiple days, pretty much a week, to break down the whole first round matchup, because one of the questions is, what if Dallas loses to like a Utah in a first round series? But they're not going to, because we want Utah and we're going to beat them. Utah's a bad city.
Bad city. Say it, Dirk. There you go. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs, making us your first listen every day. We'll be back tomorrow talking more about what the Mavs are going to do. But now make your second listen Locked On NBA. Local experts from around the NBA, biggest stories around the NBA. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. I host on Thursdays. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom. Go Heels.